it's really becomes apparent to me that as we get older, there are two things that I see happening. And the one is that I see this kind of internal power and certainty and knowing really strengthening. And I also see a growing anxiety as we become concerned about becoming invisible. And I notice that a lot of very senior women that I work with, almost they have so much experience and wealth to bring to the table, which they do. And then there's also a sense of needing to keep up the game. And I started to do research, and I found that in some traditional societies, there is this concept of a warrior, that women come to their warrior stage later in life. That when we are younger, men become warriors almost before the father archetype. We become warriors after the mothering reproductive archetype. And I started to look at what the other archetypes could be for the stage of life that we approach. And I found creative, healer, storyteller, warrior, and those really, change maker and leader, those really spoke to the energy that I was feeling in myself. Traditionally, women have been storytellers. And as we get older, the elders are the storytellers. And I think that when you have been through life and you have done it as a woman, you have a particular understanding of which stories need to be told and which stories need to be quieter. And so I really want to call the voice of older women as part of the previously invisible voices. I think that older women coming to the table have something to say about which stories we need to lay to rest and which stories we need to accentuate and add into the general telling. Of the idea of creating positive change, and I feel that one of the power gateways that we have now is very much about we are going through physical change. Our generation of women going through change have always been change leaders in terms of when I was growing up, 30 was the end of your life. You know, you couldn't be an air hostess. Joan Collins was considered way too old to be in Dynasty or whatever she was in. And the shock was she was over 30. And we've just always broken those rules, and here we still are, and we will continue to break those rules. So let's break them consciously. Let's break them intentionally. So
the first aspect of menopause for me, this really, really difficult struggle. And out of that was born this desire to create a place of dialogue so we can share our experience, so we can share our wisdoms, so we can help each other navigate this. Because exactly, Lesanne, I love what you said. I'm not dead yet. And actually, quite frankly, this in my experience, and that was the first aspect of menopause. The second aspect of menopause was this very visceral bristling of power, of an inner, deep, unshakable inner confidence, because it's no longer about identity so much, or about the ego, or about my own performance, or about how I stand in the world, or my career, or something else started happening for me where I started caring a lot less about what people think, and my attention began to shift from my own self much more to what is the impact that I can make, what difference can I make in the world. And so that's, Lesanne, what you were talking about, moving into the space where the archetypes show us warrior, healer, change agent, leader. The one thing that stuck with me was Mandy said, and it was a really sad moment for me. She said, you know, Erica, for many women, this time gets lost. Because actually, as a culture, as a society, we don't have the rituals, we don't have the ceremonies, we don't have these very clear opportunities where we consciously rethink our life, where we consciously ask the question, what are the values that don't serve me anymore? What are the new values that I need to aspire to? What are the habits that don't work for me anymore? Break. What is the vision for my life? What are the things that I want to achieve in the third act of my life in terms of what impact do I want to leave? How do I want to use these accumulated wisdoms, the things we've learned over 50, 55, 60 years? And so that's why this forum is being created, so that we can have a deliberate space to really, really think about how we want to navigate this third act of our life. And together with a powerful network of women who also inspire us. So there's a course that goes on after this, 3 hours at a time, where we will go and look at what are the key things in terms of physical, emotional, mental, spiritual well-being, to really lean into the practices that will help us to think about what is my vision for the future? How do I get into intentional action? How do we support each other? But Mandy will send you some stuff about that afterwards. I'm just really excited. And so
this kind of process that we all go through of needing to generate our courage and our maps and our shift, personally, politically, at work, in families, etc., is a shared space. And I really, whether you do this alone, whether you do this in this group, whether you do this, however you do it, find others, create networks, because it's a story that needs to be told. And we invite you, those of you that do join us for the deep dive, research tools, personal stories, experiences, and thank you for sharing so beautifully today.